Hello, friends, and welcome to the Friendly Show. I am your host and friend, Leigh. Okay, so let me just get this a little bit situated here. So, if you are new to the show, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm super happy that you're here. We do this show a little bit differently than some podcasts. When we do the live recording, which we do on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitch, we record every Wednesday at 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central, or whatever the equivalent is for you. And what I like to do is because we're recording live, I start the show with maybe like a 5 to 7 minute segment talking about the theme. And then we kind of field your questions, comments. We have a conversation. I like to pretend that you guys are in my living room. I've invited you over. Maybe you've brought a friend. I've brought a friend, and we're just hanging out and having a conversation. And then we do lightning round questions at the end, just to get to know each other, kind of like icebreaker questions. And they're usually like pertaining to whatever subject we're talking about. The other way that we set this podcast up is every month we have a different series or theme. And this month we are doing Simplify and Thrive. So we're talking all about how do we simplify all the things that we're talking about. And every week we pick a different pillar of the happy framework, and we look at the theme through the lens of that pillar. And so today we're going to be talking about the last pillar in the happy framework, which is youthfulness. So, how can we simplify the idea of adding more youthfulness to our life? So, we're going to be talking about that all day today. And then what I'm excited about is there's actually 5 Wednesdays this month. And so next week, we are going to totally just be having a social. So make sure to invite your friends and introduce them to the Friendly Show, because we are going to just be doing kind of Q&As, and we're going to be doing the lightning round probably for almost the whole show. So it's going to be really exciting. It only happens a couple times a year. And this is one of the months that we get to do that. So really, really excited about that. So let me see if anybody is here. Excellent. Pops is here. He says, I'm here. Good to see you. Good to see you too. I'm so excited that you're here. Okay. So like I said, we're going to be talking about youthfulness and how do we simplify that. So what is youthfulness when we talk about it in the happy framework? And for me, that's really talking about, like, yes, a playful kind of spirit, a childlike wonder. But it's also like the creativity, the peacefulness that comes with children, that before they're kind of socialized into doing things a proper way, they just show up as their authentic self. The authentic self is something that we talk about a lot, in social media and everything. And all it is getting back to the root of who you are. And unfortunately, depending on how much we've been conditioned, sometimes we don't even know who that is. And that's when we really feel lost. That's when we really feel kind of detached to our own being. And so the youthfulness part is really tapping back into what brings you joy. And that's going to be different for everybody. There's some things that pretty much light everybody up for the most part. But we like to look at things that are lighting you up, that when you do it, you lose track of time. When you do it, you feel more alive. You feel more connected to your body. You feel more connected to the people around you. And when you're doing that, you're really tapping into the essence of who you are. And it gives you kind of breadcrumbs if you have lost yourself, doing those types of things and honoring the fact that, wow, that really felt good. Those are breadcrumbs to who your authentic self was before you were conditioned into being who you're supposed to be, quote unquote. So as adults, we kind of tend to overthink, we overschedule, we overperform. And that really crushes our ability to be able to tap into who we are and use that inner wisdom to see what makes us feel good, and allows us to make better decisions, makes us allows us to be more creative, be better problem solvers. And so the youthfulness isn't just a peaceful practice. It's not just a self-help kind of self-love practice. It's also a strategic way of having as a business practice, because when we're able to be more curious and more playful and more creative, we're better problem solvers. We're better apt to handle stressful situations. So I just made a couple notes that I kind of want to talk to you guys about. And not a lot, because I think we're going to have a really good conversation together. But I do want to kind of hit on a few things. And I want to talk about a couple like tangible things that you can do to kind of spark that youthfulness. Okay. And in a simplified way, you don't have to overcomplicate any of this. Okay. And I only laugh because we all do it. Even though I have been trained in this stuff, there's still moments that I overthink and overcomplicate and make things harder than they need to be. So, one of the things that we're doing in our book club in the circle right now, and if you're not part of the circle, you can go to hellohappiness.ca or leeannhello.com, and you'll be able to sign up for the circle. It's a membership site that we've got, and inside of there, we do weekly masterminds. We do book club bi-weekly. We do what else do we do? We have social nights. It's kind of like a social media like Facebook, but it's all the people that you want to be surrounding yourself with. It's the happy content that you want, rather than all of the other stuff that these social media platforms are becoming. So it's just a safer, happier place to be. And so inside of there, we're doing the book, and we meet on Thursday for our last one for the month. And we're talking about Do Less. And that's by Kate Northrup. And it's all about tapping into your inner wisdom. It's all about listening to your body. And that is one of the keys that, if you've noticed what children do, is they tap into their body. And if they have to go to the bathroom, they just say, I got to go to the bathroom, and they go. And it's not until parents or teachers, are like, you can go at recess. You don't have to go now. Right. And then as a child, you start questioning that, like, oh, shoot, do I actually know what my body needs? Maybe I don't. Maybe the adult knows better. And all of those types of things chip away at you listening to your body. So we've got to tap back into that. And inside of the Do Less framework, we're talking about finding energy leaks that will drain us. And if we can tap into that and kind of plug those energy leaks, we'll have more energy to spend on joyful connection and creativity and curiosity. And we also have to start tapping into what we need, so then we can feel safer where we are, because that our nervous system is always looking for safety, always. And it's tapping into our inner child that was kind of taught different things, that you're not safe, that the world's not safe. And so we have to get back to before we were taught all of that, and our nervous system was like, oh my gosh, I gotta behave a certain way in order to be loved. I gotta behave a certain way in order to be accepted. We've got to make ourselves feel safer being who we are. And because now we're adults, we can re-decide, make decisions based on who we want to be and who it feels good to be, because we're not 5 years old anymore, and an adult is not telling you how to live your life. You get to choose how you want to live your life. So, okay. You guys could tell when I get into this kind of stuff. That's why keeping this podcast to half an hour is always difficult for me, because I get so into this because it's so simple. But we all overcomplicate it. So one of the things for the action steps that I want you guys to consider doing is having a lightness ritual. So this is where you just create a simple daily ritual, just something really simple that brings you back to lightness. Okay, so that could be like a dance break, or for me, it's when I'm in the car alone and I try to get opportunities that I can be in the car alone. I put the music up, and even if I don't know the words, guys, I still sing at the top of my lungs. So if people heard the lyrics, they'd be like, those are not the lyrics to the song. I don't care, because my nervous system, my brain, my heart, my body doesn't care that I'm getting the wrong lyric. All it cares about is that I'm in joy and I'm playing full out. And so that's one of the things that I like to do when I'm, if I hear music, even if I'm out in public, I will start dancing a little bit more. Um, I really love going for walks first thing in the morning. I'm bringing that back into my daily routine because it feels so joyful and you feel so open to possibility. So, what would it be for you? Would it be maybe looking online for like a joke of the day? Maybe you really like dad jokes and you could find like a list of those. And every morning you start with reading a joke. Um, you can figure out what makes you feel really light and peaceful, and then add that as a daily routine, or as a ritual, really. And having those kinds of things in your back pocket help in major stressful situations where you're like, I just don't have the time to really show up for myself. And if you have a little lightness ritual that could kind of, you know, soften you, you can bring that out anytime. And then one of the things that I do is I put my hand on not over a shirt, but on my actual chest, and I hold it. And that makes me feel a lot more grounded and peaceful. And then I'm able to remind myself, okay, it is safe for you to go and do whatever it is that you want to do, whether it's, have a little dance party, sing a little louder, put the windows down, like just live your life. So I had a bunch of other things, but I want to kind of cut it there. If you're in the circle, we're going to be talking about it throughout the week. But I wanted to just tap that into your mindset, because we think we have to do these big things in order to feel playful and light, and we don't. We just need to tap into these little things, and then the more that we find them and do them, then the more opportunities you find to be in that kind of energy. So, Pop says, laugh out loud, it makes Mel crazy when I sing to her. I can't sing. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. That's so funny. But you know what? I'm glad you do it. Even if it's even if you're doing it to bug her. Um, do you have joy when you're singing? Because I can't sing for the life of me. My husband, he's got a voice. He was a singer in his band. And so I used to feel like really actually insecure singing in front of him or his dad, because they're very musically inclined and I am not. And then I was like, oh my gosh, why am I going to like curb that? If I was 5, I wouldn't care if I was being judged for not having a good voice. I would belt it out. I remember we would be in the car ride going, on the weekends to go to different trips. And if Mariah Carey came on or Whitney Houston came on, I sang at the top of my lungs in the back seat. I thought I had a great voice. And then I realized I did not have a great voice. I just had great spirit around it. So I hope that you keep that up, Britt. That's awesome. Okay, so let us do a couple of lightning round questions. And then I always get ChatGPT to put them together, just in case you're new here. I get ChatGPT to put them together, so then I'm able to answer them as well. And I prompted it a little bit more today because I really wanted to. I didn't want like a generic kind of question. I wanted to be a little bit deeper, make you think a little bit more. So I'm excited for these. I'm going to do 3 questions, the first 3 that come up. We're going to answer them. When you answer one question, push enter. So if you're in YouTube or Facebook, wherever you are, push enter so your answer goes there. You can put like a 1 and then answer the question, and then answer the second one. I'll repeat them a couple times. That way we can get a conversation going around these. Okay. And I'm going to answer them as well. So let's see what they have here. So the first question is, who comes to mind when I say childlike spirit or playful energy? And then what is it about them that you admire or want to embody more of in yourself? So that was kind of actually, I put that question in there as the prompt. I was like, I want more questions like this, because I thought this was like kind of a really cool question. So for me, when it comes to kind of childlike spirit, um, my sister comes up for me, because she's very like in tune to what she wants and what she likes, and she does it. And there's no question about like, is this appropriate? Is it not appropriate? It's, if I like it, I do it. And she, like, when they started the adult coloring, she loved it because she loved coloring. So she's like, oh, this is so cool that they're finally getting it, that adults can also color. When they started doing the puzzles that were more difficult, like she does puzzles that are just like all one color. She's like, this is so nice because they get it. Adults should do puzzles. So she was way ahead of her time when it came to playfulness and childlike spirit. And she would just tap into that. And so whenever I think of that, it makes me want to do more of that. And so I've told you guys this on the show before. I've brought my coloring books out so I can do more of that, because watching her have so much fun with it, and she's joined groups that she meets people in person, and they meet on, Thursday mornings, and they do the coloring, or they'll do the puzzles, or they'll do the knitting, or whatever she likes. She has found her tribe of people that do the same thing. So for me, it'd be my sister. And that I try to find ways to kind of embody the way that she is in that. I think it's really, really cool. So, oh, Britt says, I'm going to go with you. Really? That's interesting. Okay. That's cool. I'm very honored, Britt. I love that you asked that. Oh, normally I say the 3 questions. So I didn't. I went right into the answer because I got it answer right away. So the first one was, who comes to mind when I say childlike spirit or playful energy, and what is it about them that you admire or want to embody yourself? The second question is, if your inner child could leave you, oh, I love this, could leave you one sticky note on the bathroom mirror, what would it say? So if your inner child could leave you one sticky note on your bathroom mirror, what would it say? And then number 3 is, what's one ridiculous or useless thing that secretly makes you feel alive? It might be, so they gave some examples. It might be jumping on your bed, blowing bubbles, making silly voices. So what is that for you? Okay, so we went through the first one. The second one for me, if your inner child could leave you one sticky note on the bathroom mirror, what would it say? It's my inner child. Probably, oh gosh, that's a hard one. If your inner child could leave you one sticky note on your bathroom mirror, what would it be? It would say, what's coming for me is that you are safe. Um, I would say probably you maybe trust yourself. That might be what I would say, trust yourself. That's what my inner child would say, because I really did when I was young. I was very much just follow like what I wanted, and it didn't matter. I even went to a school that had a uniform, and I did everything around that uniform that I could still follow the rules, but I could be my own person. I always like, we had a kilt, and so I would have a kilt, but I always had like fun socks, different socks. Everybody, do you remember the Doc Marten phase? Everybody had Doc Martens. And so I got Doc Martens because they were supposed to be super comfortable. But I got saddle shoe Doc Marten. So then they were still my own type of thing. So I would say trust yourself, for me. And number two, Britt says, I don't care what others think of me. That's awesome. Good, good. I like that. I like that. And then number three is, what's one ridiculous or useless thing that secretly makes you feel alive? Um, Useless thing that makes me feel alive. I think probably singing out loud. That's something that like I just feel like I can take on the world. Like when I'm in my most stressful situations, I'll get in the car just so then I can blare the music and just sing at the top of my lungs. So I think that's what it is. And it's useless. It's not achieving anything. It's not productive, but it feels really good and I love it. I also like making silly voices. I'm not good at it. I just like doing it. And Britt says iRacing. Of course it is. Of course. That's awesome. But it is, I mean, like you also have it's productive for you because it does so much for you. And that's what I think we need to start looking at. Oh, that's so cool. Britt says I do voices too. So you guys, if you're watching this and you want to, please comment and you can come up on the show. You can even be in your pajamas because it's just going to be your comment that's going to come up. Um, and if you're watching this in the replay, let me know, but still comment as if you're watching it live. So anyway, it's so interesting because I've been trying to, for myself, reframe the idea of productivity and of like what is a useful activity, because for a very long time, everything needed to have an end goal. Everything needed to have like, what is the point of doing whatever this is? And even like the walking, it was like, well, I need to make sure that I have my Fitbit on so then I can track my steps, because otherwise, like, what's the point of walking if I can't track it? What's the point of doing anything if you can't be hitting some sort of a goal? And now it's like, you know what? Even just loving to do something is super productive. It's honoring your body, it's honoring what you love. And that I think is one of the most productive things that you can do. Doing things to feel safe, that's really productive, even though on the outside it's not getting you anywhere. Sleeping, full night's sleep, super productive. I used to look at like naps like they were a problem. I used to look at full sleep like, oh, well, you know what? You're young, you shouldn't have to sleep. Sleep is so productive. Like all of these things that I don't know, we're like conditioning ourselves to like hustle, grind, go, go, go. And we're losing touch with ourselves and we're losing touch with what really matters. Our purpose, we talked about this 2 weeks ago. And our purpose really is to be love and share love, to be happy and share our happy. Those I truly believe are the main purpose of our life. And that's why I'm so passionate about getting the happy out there, because we're losing track of that. We're trying to like make the money. But why are you making the money? You're making the money because you think it's going to make you happier. Why are we getting the relationship? Because we think it's going to make us happier. Why are we going after the race? Why are we going after We're going after all these things because we think it's going to make us happier. So if we can start focusing on our happiness, then there we are. And everything else will just come. It'll all flow. And so the youthfulness is the biggest piece. And I say it every single month when we're talking about that in the show, that I think it's the missing link that people are not talking about. And so finding the things, Britt, I love that you do the iRacing. I just think it's so cool. I think when people are complaining about their spouse playing video games, or, oh, they do this thing and it's so stupid, it's such a waste of time. It's not. It's not. I mean, if it's, 24 hours a day and you're like not even getting to like talk to your spouse, yeah, that might be an issue. But I think we need to have those kinds of things that just allow us to like tap into what really brings us joy, you know? Last week we talked about relationships. That's really important. But the youthful piece, it ties. Mm, okay. I don't know if you're still here. I've lost all the comments. I lost all connection. This is the first time in 4 months that we have been doing it outside of the podcast room that I have lost connection. It was inevitable that it may happen. So if you're still here, hello. Thank you for being here. We are going to wrap up. Britt, I can't bring your comment up because it's gone, but it being therapy that's a big part of it. Being youthful in general is part of therapy. I had a girlfriend that she does recreational therapy, and that's what it's all about. It's tapping back into what really brings you joy, what play and creativity brings you joy. And so we just got to keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't make it you think that it has to be this big thing. It just has to be little things. 2 minutes, 5 minutes. If it turns into an hour, excellent. But just give yourself the opportunity to be able to do those things that once brought you joy, because I promise you, they will bring you joy again. So I love you guys so much. I really hope to see you guys next week. It's going to be really fun. I can't wait. It's going to be all lightning round questions. It's going to be just kind of like a social, hanging around the living room and chatting. So bring your friend, introduce them to the friendly show, and we'll see you next week. I love you, love you, love you. Thank you for being here. Britt, thank you for answering all the questions. That was really fun. And I will see you guys next week or in the circle. Love you. Bye.